council. Everyone's present.
Invite you to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our first agenda item is a public hearing to consider a waiver for El Patron Restaurant at 334429 West 91st Street, allowing alcohol sales within 200 feet of school property. Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. This item was brought to our attention as we were going through the building process and the review of site plan for the El Patron Restaurant. It is going to have outdoor seating as the remodeling's been proceeding quite well. And per city code that the any restaurant, bar, whatever, is if it's within 200 feet of a public school property line, or it could be a hospital or a nursing home, some other items on our list, it is required that the city council governing body hold a public hearing to consider a waiver for that. The actual distance is about 175 feet from the edge of the property line to the El Patron Restaurant. As you know, the location's been vacant for several years. The signs have been up on the restaurant for several months now, and the redevelopment has been proceeding quite well. They've had a few bumps here and there with their roof and some other items, but they are getting ready to a point where they're going to be, hopefully be able to open fairly soon. One thing also with our code is if the restaurant is in a C2 commercial district, if their alcohol sales are less than 50%, they don't need to have a special use permit, but if they are over, they do need to have one. Also, because the El Patron restaurants, actually there's one in Lawrence and one in Baldwin City, they have a pretty strong track record of what they will be selling as far as alcohol. And the owners assured me they're at about 20% of their sales, or their revenue is in alcohol, so it's clearly below our threshold. That's also in our ordinance as well, that it needs to meet all our zoning requirements before we can even bring the public hearing for the waiver to the city council. So we made sure that that was in line, and also checked the distance, obviously. We also looked at the state statutes. State statute just says it's 200 feet from the building, and so ours is actually more restricted than what the state requires. But nonetheless, that sort of brings us to this point in time. We did go ahead and advertise it. It was published in the legal record on July 5th. And if there's any other questions, I'll certainly be entertained to open discussion on the item.
If you want to do questions after, I'll just open a hearing then, and we'll see if we get public comment. All right, I'll open the public hearing for comment on the El Patron waiver. Anyone wish to make a comment? Okay. I'll close the public hearing and take council comment. Okay. Lori, you can.
Well, I was a little concerned about it at first, only because I don't like having a law that we are so easy just to overturn. But after speaking with Patrick, I understand that the basis of it is from a state statute from a long time ago, and that I'm not really ready to deal with fighting the state on them changing their law to make it. My concern is, you know, that if there is a rule for some reason for the safety of the kids or whoever, then why are we so eager to turn it over? But I don't have a real problem with it. I don't really see a need for the law. But and with that, Patrick asked if I wanted to do any revision to our city ordinance or regulations on this. And thinking about the future, there's probably not going to be a lot of opportunity that this is going to present to us unless some things happen to the west of that for any reason.
That's what I saw. If we develop to the west, it could come up again. And
or along Lexington Avenue where those houses are, because I know at one point they were approached and didn't sell out, but you never know when that may change too. So I think it's one of those things that in the future we may have to look at it. But at that point, we still I don't know that we can go more lenient than what the state regulation is anyway, so we, even if we, you know, so I'm okay with it, but that was my concern.
Okay.
Anyway.
If I may, I did want to add this comment. I did speak with Superintendent Harwood on the issue. I sent him an email, and then I saw him at the chamber luncheon and talked to him about it briefly. And the school district is completely neutral on
Okay.
the request.
Ron, any?
I have a question. I'm not seeing, where is the outside participating bar going to be?
What's that?
Is it
Outside
behind it?
seating, it's not
On
a
the
bar.
south
No,
side?
it's on the front of the building. It's actually on the north side of the structure. The rails has been up for a little while. I think they just kind of finished them up and polished them today when I was out looking at the site around noon.
I'm not against it, I just, if it was on the, if it was on the south side, then it would be out of the way of the kids getting out of school. But now it's on the north side, and if they're sitting out there drinking or whatever, then the kids are gonna be walking by there, I guess, on the other side of the street. I'm not against it.
Okay. Danny, anything?
No, all right, here, thanks, Rick.
Do you want to just handle a motion now then, or anybody?
Yes, let's see, I think we have a resolution here.
Or can we-
I would
Yes.
make a motion, we authorize resolution number 984, granting waiver of location restrictions as to license Noel Ortiz for property located at 34429 West 91st Street.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No? Roll call, please, Lana.
Ritter,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes,
Walker.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The motion carried.
Okay, our next item is our consent agenda. We have approval of the minutes from the council meeting of July 6th and approval of pay ordinance number 811. Any questions? Any motions?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second. Okay, a motion by Councilwoman Murdock, second by Councilman Ritter. Roll call, please.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes,
Walker.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carried.
Okay, our next item is call to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business that's not listed on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted upon by the council during this meeting. There is a 4-minute time limit. Please stand and wait to be recognized. Anyone wish to address the council tonight? I think yours, we'll add an agenda item for which we should have done when we did the agenda, but.
On the dogs.
So, we'll just take it up shortly. All right. So we can just, should we add a agenda, motion to modify the agenda now?
Yeah, that's a
Right.
good idea.
I'll make a motion, we modify the agenda, adding agenda item 4E.
That item would be to consider a dispute as to whether dogs are dangerous.
Okay.
Just like that, Lana. Thank you.
Yeah,
Was I supposed to submit something to the court?
no, I don't think so. She didn't need to.
Well, you
Within
were,
5 days?
you were supposed to
What
submit
is on
something
today?
in writing indicating that you wanted to dispute that.
But I thought since I was on the docket, or should I still done it just so I would have done it right?
You're here, so.
Okay,
I
okay.
think
I'm
that
sorry.
kind of
I'm
dispenses
sorry.
with it.
All right, we have a motion to add the agenda item. I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Moving on, 4A, consider bids for fire station repairs 2017 CDBG project. Brad?
All right, thanks, Rick. We did finally get through the bidding process for a community development block grant. We had a couple of snafus early in the process, so we had to go back out and get some bids for these things. And unfortunately, we only received one bid for the project, and it was a little bit higher than we thought it might be. A little background, we were awarded $60,000 in a community development block grant, and which was to be applied to the fire station repairs. I'm also gonna do most of the introductory work. If you need specifics on what those bid items were and the development of that, I'm gonna defer to Steve Chick. So if you have any comments directly on the bid items and what they were entailing and why our recommendation is for the base bid and alternate two, you'll have to talk to Steve about those items. Anyway, we did go through the bidding process, which involves not only a registration on open bidders, we also had to put an advertisement in a minority newspaper and some other steps that we had to follow. We did some posters up. Normally we have a Fair Housing Month that we make a proclamation, but this year we went a different direction with that and just put some posters up about making sure that people know when they're around City Hall for a couple of weeks about some of the rules and regs that the Department of, or I guess HUD has for making sure everybody has equal access to housing. Anyway, we went through all those items, got the bids procured, and finally we got a bid from MTS Contracting, who has done work for the city before, so we're comfortable with this contractor and the work that they do. We did have a base bid and 5 alternates. The base bid came in at $85,600. The total for all the additional alternates was $47,740 for a grand total of $133,340. Our recommendation is to do the base bid plus alternate two. Alternate two is replacing exposed sheet metal sill flashing. Also, to do the overage, we are recommending that project, the parking project, we're gonna do some additional parking down at Miller Park, it's about $30,000 worth of improvements that we are recommending that we either put off till 2018 due to, we're gonna be doing a Parks and Rec master plan. We want to confirm that, that's actually a good item for us to be spending our dollars on for the Parks and Rec program, and also we will be, moving some of those out. Part of the reason the additional parking is being driven was because we do all the youth soccer down at Miller Park, and we're gonna be moving that out to new Lexington Lake Park as soon as we get the fields graded and seeded with a project for next year. So that's our recommendation. If you have, like I said, any specific questions on the bid items and how they're put together, like I said, you'll have to ask those questions to Steve.
Okay. Question?
Was this grant, did we split this grant with this project and something else? That it was only $60,000?
Well, not this one. We did a split grant the year before this one. I'm kind of recalling things that Mike has told me. I think 2014 we submitted a grant, we didn't get one. And then 2015 we submitted for 2 grants and got them both. And then the year after that was this one. So the application process for the 17 construction was actually done in 16.
Right.
So just last Monday, I did the presentation for our 2018 grant. So that's always.
I guess my question, where it's leading to is if we got a grant for $60,000, the estimates were between $70,000 and $90,000. It seems like we didn't get enough.
Why didn't we apply for more grant money?
I'm confused why we didn't
Well, I
get enough
think
grant
we
money.
did not, I don't have the grant in front of me, but I'm pretty sure we applied for 100,000, we were only awarded 60.
We always apply for the maximum
Yeah,
amount.
and the 2 items that we put up in 2018, we had a development block grant for 100,000, even though we did turn in 2 applications, one for the rehab of the stairs to the Life Fitness Center, and the other is the water line on Spring Drive, but we did ask for 100,000.
Okay, and was the estimate at 70 to 90,000 for the complete project of 100, would have included all these extras, which came to 133,000?
No,
So
as
that was
the
just-
engineer looked at it, there were some additional items that he added in.
Okay, so they were added in after the original.
Correct.
Well, it's just kind of frustrating when you think you're going with $1 amount and then you're double that dollar amount almost by the time you get to the project. And granted, I get that things aren't always the same, but it's like, it's a lot of difference from a $60,000 grant up to $133,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah, I would agree, and part of the thing, and I know Steve can attest to this, is the contracting world is pretty covered up right now, so when we're getting bids, it seems like they're getting higher, and I've confirmed that with talking to some other cities, that some of their projects are also kind of blowing their budgets.
Yeah. And how important is the alternate too?
That has to do with window flashings, and it actually only takes care of some of them. When we did the first phase project, they determined that there was some other issues that needed to be corrected, and that's part of what we put into the second phase, and that's part of why this is higher, is that they were researched and unable to be paid for under the phase one. But they're window flashings, and they're needed. We actually should do some more, but we just kept it to the bare minimum of what we felt we needed to at least seal a building up.
That's all my questions.
Okay, Kevin, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with this a little bit. Most of this was done before my time here. And I assume the other money comes from taxes raised within
Well,
the
I think
city.
what I understood Brad say, we're gonna hold off on a project, parking lot project, so.
And that money come from the grant money as well, or? is it-
No,
No,
that
that
was
was
in
just
the
our-
general fund, it's just, capital improvement fund.
So like I said, I'm not trying to, I support the fixing. I just wish it was a cost share with the district to raise the money for fire services and didn't seem like it was double taxing something, so. That's my line.
All right. Anything wrong? Danny, any comment, question? Well, I mean, it's frustrating when it comes in. I don't know if there would be any benefit to rebidding. I probably not. I mean, my experience is if we rebid it, I end up even losing a little bit more ground, it seems like, here.
True. In the market we're in right now, it's really difficult. We expected that there wouldn't be that number of bidders.
Yeah.
I was actually told by several folks that we'd be lucky if we even got bids on
Okay,
it.
okay.
Part of the problem is that we have a deadline in the project and a penalty if it's not completed by the deadline. And I was told also that is just a project killer for some of these companies that are already buried with work. And it's a fairly small project with them.
Right.
And if we rebid it, we're not gonna have time to complete the work this fall. So it basically would push it into next year, and I'm not sure, you were gonna check if the CDBG funds could be carried over.
Yeah, I did,
And
and I
maybe an
haven't
issue
got a
with
response
that.
yet from the county.
If we don't do it, I'm not sure if we can carry those funds, we were gonna
Right,
check on that.
We may forego the grant fund.
Right.
Okay.
Also, this is a prevailing wage job, so it's a little different.
Right.
You know about what I'm talking about
Yeah.
on that, Rick. It really inflates the bid amount, because when we bid phase one, it was not a prevailing wage job. This is a prevailing wage job by the federal requirement, so it inflates, like, I don't know if it's double, but it's at least 1.5 times the labor rates, because it has to be at prevailing wage rates.
Because of the grant?
Yes.
Because of the federal funds involved.
Yeah, the federal
as we-
funds, they force you to bid it at the prevailing rate. It's in the bid package, they're way up there.
Yeah.
It's just a frustration for me because, I mean, I see the benefit of keeping this building nice, but I also think I personally feel we put way too much money into that building for what we're getting back out of it, other than having our fire station here, which I do appreciate that, but it's a frustration. We've committed to doing it, so I'm not gonna back out on my commitment to do it, but it's a lot of money.
All right. I would make a motion that we award the project the base bid of $85,600 plus alternate two for $10,625, total of $96,225 to NTS Contracting.
I'll second the motion.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The motion carried.
Okay, item 4B, discuss strategic plan. Is this more for our information? I mean,
Yeah,
since
it
Mike's not
really is.
here.
I think Mike just wanted you to know that the final version is right here with some of the minor corrections that the council had requested. If you want to bring it up with him later, if you don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable approving it without him being here, it's quite all right.
Well, I think I guess we'll just say it's a reminder to let everybody know the strategic plan document is in your packets, and review it and get comments back to Mike. All right. Did you have a question?
Yeah, my
maybe?
daughter had to get back to work. I can go
Okay.
back and get her. She was gonna cry because she's the manager. And I can go back and get her when it's time if you guys need her.
It's, and if you can do it yourself, that's.
Right. Yeah, we're probably a half hour from being there or so. We have
Okay,
a couple
'cause-
more items,
yeah.
but not too far.
Okay, I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
Next item is 4C, consider temporary use and noise permit for Bikers for Boobies event at Beer 30. Correct?
Yeah, this is an annual event. This is something that's been before the council several times, so it's nothing new. But the Beer 30 has been a part of the Bikers for Boobies event to fight breast cancer. They have typically 100 to 150 motorcycles participating from around 1 to around 6. The event actually is set up from noon to 7, but
Yeah, but I just put down time because I don't ever know exactly what time
Yeah.
in there they're coming, but they're only there 45 minutes, so. But they've been coming for 10 years now, so.
Everything pretty well checks out with all the requirements that we've asked them to do, and it's almost kind of a drill that we all kind of know the process at this point, but haven't had any issues with it. They are asking that the $50 temporary use permit be waived, and the $75 special event alcohol license also be waived, so.
Okay. Questions from council?
Do we always wait for the alcohol license?
We have the past.
You guys
several
have
years.
always waived it because it goes to charity.
The alcohol license also?
Yeah, do we need it? I thought with the liquor ones, we didn't have to have the.
You're serving,
I'll be serving both beer and alcohol, but my alcohol license covers both with the extension of premise from the state.
okay, so yeah, our code indicates that if it's 3-2 beer and you're doing a special event, or either one, you have to pay the city the fee. But on the cereal malt, on 3-2 beer, we have to send $25 to the state.
Yeah.
But
Mine you
with,
don't.
you're not doing the 3-2 beer, so
Right.
yeah, we don't have to send
That's
anything
what
to the state.
I remember
so-
that from last year. It was,
I think in previous times, it's been indicated, well, the city, we shouldn't be coming out of pocket.
Right.
To give some, so on those, we haven't waived at least that $25. But with this one, we're not required to send any money to the state.
Okay, I make a motion, we approve the temporary use permit for Bikers for Boobies and waive the temporary use permit fee.
I think you can do both.
And also waive the alcohol beverage permit fee.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The motion carried.
Connie, how many motorcycles do you think will be there?
Well, every year so far, they've had about 150 bikes there, about 200 people. It's a pretty good deal for the city because they do a lot of business in that 45 minutes that they're here.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. 4D, consider text amendment allowing wedding and reception venues via special use permit.
I do not have one there. All right, thank you, Rick. Item 4D is a text amendment allowing a wedding reception hall with special use permit. This process got started probably in early spring. There was a couple that was interested in purchasing the Christmas tree farm, as we call it, and they wanted to turn it into a wedding reception hall. The only categories that are currently allowed to do a wedding reception hall are C1, C2, and office, OI, office industrial. So we didn't feel that going through the process and trying to change the zoning on that area, since it's all surrounded by RO district, residential suburban, it would be better to go through and amend our ordinances to have a text amendment outlining some of the stipulations and requirements that would be needed for allowing this type of use. We did quite a bit of research. We contacted Johnson County and Miami County primarily because DeSoto on the east side has got a lot of large lot subdivisions, or homesteads, very similar to what a county would have. Johnson County does allow this, as does Miami County. Things that we kind of found out were because these items often sort of grew up from, they started with like a horse arena, then they made some improvements to it, and then they made it a little bit nicer, or maybe they moved to a brand new structure, and they this older one, and tried to come up with a use. And so they sort of, a lot of these places just sort of evolved into this type of use. And that's where they kind of ran into problems, because once you have assembly of people over 100, you have to have a sprinkler system, you have to have higher fire ratings, all sorts of code things that come into play when you have 100 people or more gathering in a location. So it really has been kind of difficult for a lot of people to go ahead and do this. Actually, to my knowledge, at this point, there aren't any wedding reception halls in rural Johnson County anywhere. And the staff in Miami County indicated they have one that's on the books right now, but they're going back and forth between the owner and trying to help them make it happen under their regulations. Anyway, we went through a lot of discussion on the planning commission to look at this site, and not just specifically this site. We wanted to, it's actually going to be, if approved in every district, you can have potentially do this, but you do have to have certain criteria. I think some of the things that were most important to the planning commission, we did set a minimum size of 5 acres. We didn't want somebody who just happened to have a nice accessory building and a little bit of extra room to come up with the ability to have weddings and things like that. So we did have a 5-acre minimum for your site. We did talk about food services. Catering was certainly all right. We're just gonna have like a warming kitchen. You can keep things warm. Crock pots, or even a small, they do have like warming, I would say, I don't even want to use the word oven because that throws it in a different category, but something like you'll see at Subway where they're just keeping the bread warm for you. You can have things like that. We did discuss outdoor grilling. Somebody's gonna do a small, like a barbecue or something like that, at one of these reception areas. We thought that was an appropriate use. Trash must be collected, disposed off-site. Portable bathrooms are not going to be allowed as permanent facilities. It would have to have a septic system, a private septic system approved by the city before they could have something like this. Hours of operation were 8 to 12. One of the things that we came up with, we tried to make sure that it was sort of consistent with other uses that were not necessarily wedding and reception halls, but consistent with those types of hours in the city. We didn't want to have any parties going on at 2 a.m. or anything like that. One of the things that also was fairly important was the vegetative buffers, outdoor lighting, dust control. I want to make sure that all those things were, the applicant was well aware that these are things the planning commission were very strong with wanting to make sure that were in place, and that there wouldn't be any harm to anybody, any neighbors or any kind of concerns. Noise kept the minimums, needs to match our city code noise permit. One of the things also was a term of 20 years. A lot of our special use permits around have a sunset of 10, but in order to get financing or somebody was doing something like this, the banks, we were told, it was a 20-year window. So
Is that normal?
Well, I guess I can't really comment on that, haven't really gone down that road.
That seems awful.
But I guess the point was, if the bank was requiring a 15-year note or a 20-year note was acceptable, and we only gave them a 10-year special use permit, we
If
could.
you had a 30-year loan, does that mean we want to stretch special use permit out 30 years?
Well, that's why we.
You know,
can't-
or they could even have a longer loan than that. That doesn't seem that we're changing special use permits because of financing.
Well, that's something we went through with the planning commission, and that was their recommendation.
20
We
years.
just wanted to make sure that they could get their financing, that if they had a 20-year loan, then they only had a 10-year special use permit. If for whatever reason, the special use permit went away, now they've got, X amount of dollars they still need to recoup, but no way to generate that revenue. So that's why we recommended 20 years. And then finally, a site plan, or our site plan regulations for the city code needs to go to the planning commission.
Okay.
So that concludes my report, and if there's any questions, I certainly.
Well, it looks like it's written as the term of the special use permit shall be a maximum of 20 years. That doesn't mean that we could have it less, but
That's a good
it
point.
could extend
That's
to 20
correct.
years if there was a case that would, that would make it more appropriate for something extended like that.
Yeah. Questions or comments? Kevin, anything?
No, I mean, I'm glad that we're doing something to help folks like this, bring this type of activities to our town.
Okay. Lori, any other?
Yeah, I don't have any concern, I don't think, on it. I think it works out right.
Danny, Ron?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, good. Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion, we authorize ordinance number 2422. Can we read the whole thing, Lena? Adopting the planning commission's recommendation to revise the DeSoto zone regulations to provide for issuance of special use permit for use of land as wedding and reception halls within the city on land in a zoning district other than C1, C2, or OI.
Okay. Anybody want a second? All right, second by Councilman Ritter. Any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The motion carried.
Okay. Next item is our, consider discussion or dispute as to whether or not a dog is deemed dangerous.
Yes.
Patrick?
Sure, counsel, if I may, just a little bit of background. I was notified that the city had 2 dogs under quarantine as of July 10th, 2017. And there had been citations issued for the municipal court arising out of that. The report that I distributed to you today, that's a report that I received today, and that report concerns the bite by the 2 dogs at issue on July 10th. So it's a report that you got today covers the quarantine for the 2 dogs, that the quarantine on those 2 dogs will be up on July 20th. after looking into this issue, I was provided with another police report on these same dogs. And that's the report that I distributed to you, I believe, on Monday. I sent that to you guys, along with the notice that I served on the owners of the dogs. In that report, you'll see that essentially for the time period of 2015 up until present time, these two dogs have been the subject of police reports on 4 different attacks on people. And those are outlined in the report, and then also an attack on another dog. So given that information, on July 17th, I served a notice on the owners of the dog, indicating that it was the city's conclusion that these are dangerous dogs. And the way our city code works is that once you as an owner of a dog are notified that the city has concluded that you have a dangerous dog, you have 5 days to submit something in writing to the code enforcement officer indicating that you want an opportunity to dispute that finding by the city. As Ms. Gardner mentioned, as of today, we hadn't received anything as far as a dispute in writing. I did check with Walter on that, but Ms. Gardner, I understand she is the owner of at least one of these dogs.
Really, both dogs. I own the child too.
Okay.
I own the child and both dogs.
Okay. Well, right now we're just talking about the 2 German Shepherds.
Right, I'm saying the one that says one's hers.
Okay.
It's my house, nothing's hers. You know?
Okay. So
Unless you bought it.
you are the owner of both German
yeah,
Shepherds?
I would say I am the owner of both
Okay.
German Shepherds.
Okay, good. Appreciate that.
She thinks she owns one. We'll let her keep doing it.
Okay. But given that Ms. Gardner is here and has indicated that she's the owner of both dogs, I mean, I think it's fine if the city hears. I mean, this is her opportunity to convince you, the city council, that the city's conclusion that these dogs are dangerous is not accurate. Just for your information, the way our code defines a dangerous animal, when it comes to dogs, the definition is any dog, cat, or other animal having a disposition or propensity to attack or bite any person or animal without provocation, or any pit bull dog. And then we have another section of our code that it's under keeping dangerous animals. What it indicates is that for purposes of this article, if a dog, cat, or other animal has bitten any persons, or animal on 2 or more separate occasions, it shall be prima facie evidence that the dog, cat, or other animal is a dangerous animal. The reason I sent the notice out on behalf of the city and on behalf of our code enforcement officer is based on the review of the documentation that I had. It seemed pretty clear to me that these dogs met the definition of our city code for being dangerous. So the notice that I sent out, normally the city would give the owner of the dogs 5 days to remove the dogs from the city. But as I indicated in my letter to the owners, I believe given the history of these dogs, I certainly don't feel comfortable releasing those dogs back to the owner, just given the attacks that we have record of. So with that, I'll stand for any questions. I do think we should give Ms. Gardner an opportunity to present evidence on why these dogs are not dangerous. And then after that, I would ask that, you know, you guys, take a vote on, you know, you could, it would just simply be a motion indicating that these dogs are not dangerous.
So it would be, the vote more on the other way. Okay.
Because right now, the city's position, based on the notice I
Okay,
sent
got
out,
it.
is that they are dangerous. But you certainly have the discretion
Okay.
to decide that they're not.
All right. Any questions for Patrick from the council? Okay. Then, I guess now we would let, Ms. Gardner speak to present anything you would like to about the
Okay.
dog.
Now, my brain don't work real good, so just work with me if you can. Now, Greg Lowe said he'll come up here and stand for my boys. They have showed no aggression to him in whatsoever way, but they have no business biting people that are not breaking in my house, don't get me wrong. A lot of their defense is there's a lot of drug activity on my block, and I told the police that too. They need to start policing their blocks more. You know, bottom line, they stopped me and asked if I seen someone in a blue tank top, but I was with my push mower like heck crazy because I'm sweating like a pig in heat. And I said, no, I don't have big dogs to protect me here right now. You know, so that's my defense too. My defense too is I've got so much. My dog was shot back in the 80s, and the police said it was okay to shoot when he came out of my home, so I thought I would always have two after that. I don't want to feed two dogs. I want to feel safe in my town. I came here in 3rd grade. I love this town. I would die for this town. Now I can get my dogs out of town to a place where there's no kids, on the river bottoms. But then what does that leave me? People in my yard taking things because they aren't patrolling. They stole the car a block away because they were chasing someone that they just said, oh, well, we can't find them, we'll just steal the car. They chased someone not even a block away. You know, I mean, I got grandkids. I don't want a gun. You know, I live by myself. I live with my daughter. And I just don't, I guess I could buy ADT, you know, but I can't afford to hardly feed DOGs. And the thing is, if we look who they bit, they should never bit no one. I once again agree with that. But most of the people are out moving around all times at night, lurking around other people's houses. They have no business. I don't want to mention any names. You know, out that late at night, peeking at people's windows and doing things. You know, no one comes on the Delaware block. If Grandpa Frost was alive here right now, Jackie will come up here, Tyler, and the neighbor in the Ice Blue House come up here right now and say they appreciate those dogs. No one steals nothing off our block. But they have, you know, I was gonna go with an underground fence and a big fence and take another mortgage on, or no more, there's no mortgage, just take a mortgage on the house, but I think they have bit too many people. You know, I also feel they have bit too many people. But like I said, when they're out for 3 or 4 days, because there's people uptown with headlights on, you know, with loud music, the police don't notice that there's minors up there. Minors, they're not going to college, my kids went to college. You know, it's just, my emotions are coming in, so I probably shouldn't say very much anymore. Probably got me on footage and little Donnie will be mad at me. But I can bring in 50 people, I can bring those dogs in here right now and they won't do nothing to you.
Are these dogs licensed with the city of DeSoto?
No, sir, they're not. I'm grateful for that.
And what is their average weight?
I think Aries is almost 100 pounds and Odin's like 100 pounds.
And are they pinned up? Do you have a pen that they're in?
My dogs never got loose before. It's Kimberly. I'm going to take, if I would, I need to take full, she's 22, but I need to take full responsibility. But it's my fault, because I know what kind of 22. She's maturing. She's a manager at McDonald's. She's coming along well. But it's my fault. It's
Well,
my
this
land.
police
It's my
report,
fault.
they were out at different times of the day. Like the one, I know biting a child's backpack.
Yeah, and see, no one really brought that to my attention. They weren't quarantined, you know, because each time I asked them if they bit a child, each time I asked them that. You know, on these occasions, I weren't there, they weren't in quarantine, I never got no paperwork. No one came by and said, bad dog, or they could get whooped. You know, I don't believe in beating a dog or beating a kid, but I believe in spanking, you know, if you need to spank him. You know, these are days later, they come up and tell me, and who knows who bit them days later if I
Back in
wanted
the
to.
60s, I owned a German Shepherd dog that weighed 146 pounds. And he never offered to bite anybody. He never went out of my yard because I had him trained.
Right,
He
I
stayed
have a
in the
lot of
yard.
activity on my block, and they've got headlights on, and those dogs are up for 3 or 4 days where they're not getting good sleep. Dogs need their sleep. They need their sleep. And I told the police that.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I just ask, Ms. Carter, you mentioned about the dogs, you have a place for them to go outside the city.
Yeah, outside the city on the river bottoms where they'll never see children or nothing again. You know, and to be responsible, if they were biting people, I'd wanna put down. You know what I'm saying? If they're gonna really rip, I don't wanna hurt them.
But they are biting people.
Right, so you believe that you put down, do you honestly
Well,
believe
they're
that? Okay,
biting.
Aries is my biter. If you read the reports, it's Aries.
So do you, and that would be up to the council, but, is that a request you're making?
No, I don't want, neither one of them put down. My request is to send them to the river bottoms. I'm
No,
sorry, I
that's,
didn't
that's my
mention.
question,
I
is
apologize.
if the council does not agree with you that these dogs are not dangerous, meaning the status quo stays, that it's the city's position, they are dangerous, they need to be gone from the city within 5 days of the notice, is that a request you're making that?
Yes,
if-
I'll remove them from the city, but my request is to also to not be robbed.
Okay, but where you just mentioned the river bottoms, I mean, I think.
Across the river, That way they can't get back. I don't wanna put them in the inner city because if they do bite, I want them to where they see no people ever again. You know, I wanna take them to farmers.
I just wanted to clarify, just if that's something the council wants.
They make
if
good
it-
guard dogs though for your water park district.
If there was a concrete plan for the dogs to be removed from the city of DeSoto, and as you say,
Yeah,
to
there
the
is a concrete
bottoms, but
plan.
the city would need to know where
Right,
they're
right, I would,
going.
of course,
And make sure
right.
they're not back in the city.
Or hopefully to make sure they're not attacking innocent people across the river, too. I wouldn't want to be responsible and let them attack you know, oh, well, they're not attacking custodians, that's all that matters.
Because just so the council knows, if it's up to the city, to deal with the dogs, then what Jay normally, what he would do would be, the same thing he does with unclaimed dogs, where they would be transported to the Lawrence Humane Society. That's assuming Lawrence Humane Society would take the dogs. If they wouldn't, then, you know, the city, we would have to figure out something else, you know,
The
another.
Greg Lowe City would, excuse me, I'm sorry. The Greg Lowe City would come up here and talk to the boys. He's had them for the whole time. The evenings are awesome. He never met them before.
Well, now, this is your opportunity to convince the council that they're
You know,
not
Greg
dangerous.
Lowe's been tending to their needs. I went down and seen them. I didn't want to give them anxiety. And he said they're awesome. He said, you know, I can call him, he can come up here, and he will verify they're awesome dogs. I got sick right when I got them, so I didn't get to pay them as much attention to. It's not their fault. I should get put down with them if they get put down. 'Cause I got sick and then Kimberly had to have two, which I should have been the mom and said you can't have two. And 2 dogs the same age, so living hell. If anyone wants to know, don't do it. One dog's not bad, 2 is. 2 of them got hit by trains at the same time, so she made me feel guilty about that too. With me when they got hit by the trains, and they took 2 puppies.
I think it's important for you to know, you know, now that I mean, to be honest, I wasn't aware until literally Monday of this week, the history these dogs have. And these are just reports that people have called in, reported them, but now that the city is on notice of the characteristics of these dogs, I mean, I think you probably can understand, the
Right,
city
I've asked the
needs
police, should I get rid of them? I've asked the police each time they've done that, should I get rid of them? No, secure them, you know, and I secure them. It's not because I'm letting them go and saying, you know. You know what I'm saying? They usually get out because she didn't shut the door all the way. Or she didn't secure them on the chain right. It's because I didn't take them out. So it goes back to being my fault again. I'm the oldest.
Well, what do we do? I mean, I'm convinced from the reports that it's pretty clear that, and I'm not convinced that they would not bite it again, so I think they need to leave the city.
And that's, like I said, and, you know, and if you take no action, then that means you have not been convinced that they're not dangerous. I guess the only other, you know, certainly staff would be open to if you wanted us to explore working with Ms. Gardner, that the dogs go to the
I'd
place.
chip them, if you guys want me to chip them, just if they bite again, because I think it's irresponsible to send a biting dog away you don't chip, to where they can be scanned and have a tag saying this dog is bit before, so it'll show another bite. I think that if they do get sent away, that they should be somehow to where someone can tell that someone didn't put someone's vicious dog in another yard. You understand what I'm saying? I think it's irresponsible. If I felt they were vicious, I wouldn't do this. I think it's irresponsible. You know, I don't feel they're vicious, so I'll do this. If this happened again, I would take care of it myself and put them down.
Well, I don't know if the dogs are vicious or not. I haven't seen it. I'm just going by these reports. But number one, they're in the city illegally. If they don't have a dog license from this, issued to them, to her, but that, it's not the dog's fault that they're getting out. It's your fault that they're
I
getting
said
out.
that, sir, yes, sir.
So I think they need to be removed from the city. I don't care where you take them, what you do with them, but I don't think they should be in this city anymore. Not good.
I think we're all in concurrence then with the finding and so they will be removed from the city. They still have 10 more days in quarantine or?
No, the quarantine's up on the 20th.
Oh, on the 20th, okay, which is.
Today.
Which would be today, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
today is the
Okay.
20th.
And
so
should I buy tags just to get them out of the city, just to do the right thing?
I don't think that's necessary,
No.
really. I mean, they just need to leave the city,
Okay,
so.
okay.
But I'll get with Jay tomorrow and, you know.
I'll have them out of the city tomorrow.
What's that?
I will have them out of the city tomorrow. I'm sorry to speak tough. I will have them out of the city tomorrow.
Well, I mean, I'm comfortable, if the council's comfortable, I mean, I'd be willing to work, I'd probably have you sign something attesting that
Right.
the dogs are not coming back to the city to
Right,
visit,
right.
they just are not
Right,
allowed
right,
back in the
right,
city.
right.
And we'd need to know
Where they're at.
where they're at and have an
Definitely.
officer
Definitely.
verify
Definitely.
that that's where
Definitely,
they're at.
definitely.
So,
Those dogs can, they get out, they can cross that river.
yeah, so if,
They'll be back.
Is everybody comfortable with that arrangement then, if Patrick
Yeah.
can work out?
Yeah, Patrick will work with, getting it taken care of.
Okay.
and just so you know, Ms. Gardner, I know you have tickets in municipal court.
I know, I
That's
gotta
a
figure out when they are.
completely separate thing that,
The tickets don't have a carbon copy. Can we work on that too, the town council? When they give you a ticket, they have nothing on them. It's just a blank ticket. My copies are all blanks. So we need some carbon on them.
well,
It
don't
don't
have to
seem
address
like
that
much,
issue,
but
but I
some
just
of
wanted
mine-
you to know that
Right.
just because the dogs are out of the
Right,
city.
I go Monday, I'll go Monday.
Yeah.
Isn't that what court is, Monday?
What's a good number that I can contact you tomorrow?
I gotta look it up. Nine one three. 235. 78. 15.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's my
Okay.
daughter's number.
Okay.
I leave it on my phones.
Okay, thanks.
All
That's it.
right.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
Thank you, are we done? Thank you all very much. You all have a good evening.
Next item, executive session, we don't have any, I assume, correct? Correct. Okay. Advisory report. Patrick?
I don't have anything.
We just did it.
Yeah, thanks for that.
All right. Brad?
I just have a couple small little items, you know, there's a large sinkhole out at Widow Big Knife Park that,
Where?
last 2 or 3 days, we filled it in. Widow Big Knife, so, our crews, and actually, we actually had to hire a truck or two from Betty's Trucking to, help us deliver the material. So that's actually about 98% done. as of today. And then, just for your information, the next planning commission meeting, we've got 2 rezonings, and we're also gonna talk about our sizes of duplexes in resident, or our RH district, our historic downtown area.
Good.
With that rezoning, can you explain to me the rezoning that's over on, just out of curiosity, on Waverly?
Oh, all right, well, the owner, Frank Weinhold backs up to the very far southeast corner of Don Barr's planned development, Arbor Ridge. And that back corner wraps around, and on the planned development, it is open space, and it's really pretty much an unbuildable area. It's fairly steep, a lot of trees, things like that. Anyway, Frank and Don talked about it, and Frank convinced Don, that to sell him an acre, because he wanted a buffer behind his house. And even though we tried to explain to Frank and the PD, nothing will be built there anyway, it's just, he still wants to buy the property. As a condition, he wants to rezone it to R1, which is what his property, and all the others are along there, so that's.
So it's the back of his property was
Yes.
bonds, and so he's zoning that 1 acre into.
Right.
Okay, is
Thank
that
you.
it?
Yeah, that's all I
All
have.
right. Lana, anything tonight?
I do not, thank you, Council President.
Okay. Council comments? Danny, anything tonight?
No, none, Rick, thank you, sir.
Rob? Kevin?
I'm good.
Lauren?
No, I
It's
don't
all
have
you.
everything. I don't think I have anything.
I don't have anything tonight.
I make a motion. We adjourn.
All right.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, we're adjourned.
Way too.